All right. The if you want to continue, practicing this, I recommend that you, and this goes for everybody. I recommend that you write some sentences with context and send it to me, and I will check it for you. Anybody, Trini, Norma, Tanya,
Okay.
Michelle,
Okay.
Caesar, Christian. If you want to practice this more, because it is honestly a bit complicated,
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Before working at this English accent school, I used to make mistakes with this. And I had been teaching for 2 years before this, so it's pretty normal, okay? I understand, I know your pain. I remember I took the TOEFL,
Oh my goodness.
and then I had connections so I could check the results. And I realized, like, damn, how did I make this mistake?
Wow.
And okay, yeah, it's normal, okay? But I am here. I understand your pain, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Christian, welcome, man.
Thank you, teacher. I'm here.
Do you want to share your sentences?
I don't
Or
have.
no, you weren't here yesterday, right?
No, I don't have.
Okay. So, thank you for doing your homework, everybody.
Thanks to you.
Today, we're going to practice the passive voice. The passive voice.
Jesus
Oh my
Christ.
God.
Really?
Achilles.
That's how you feel?
Achilles, Trini. Achilles. Do you know what Achilles is? Yeah, it is. Even that, I didn't wear shoes because I'm Achilles. I feel Achilles now.
The passive voice is like the father of the inversion.
Madre.
Oh
With
my
conditional
God.
and something like that.
Oh my.
Oh, no.
Come on, get into that. Come on.
Well, look.
I eat less sugar to prepare myself to this grammar.
Usually, the concept of passive voice is easy when,
Okay.
they teach it to you one by one. First you
Okay.
learn the simple past passive, then the simple present passive. Then you learn the present perfect passive, past perfect, and then you learn everything. This is a B2 course.
Yeah.
We expect for you to have seen the passive voice already. Apparently everybody has. I guess you have some type of trauma with the passive voice, and it's okay. But before we begin with the lesson, I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
Caesar said he prefers Corona too. Okay, anyways. I have a question. Do you know what vertical farming is? Hello, Ari.
Vertical farming?
Yes, have you heard of this? Vertical farming?
No, not me.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Norma and
Never in my life.
Christian?
Is that it? Oh. No.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we saw that topic in another course.
Oh, you finished it.
Yeah, and Norma too.
Yes.
Finished. All right, so don't say anything.
Yeah.
Yay.
So let's continue.
Yeah, let's continue. Oh my gosh, this thing's going slow. Do you see it? That was the slowest opening ever. All right, anyways. In order for you to understand the topic for today, I have to show you this video. I hope it doesn't mess up.
Okay.
I hope it can handle it. I hope. Subtitles or no subtitles?
Whatever you prefer, we're learning. Well, I talk about myself.
Okay. Yes, I'm not gonna put subtitles because then you're
Yeah.
gonna focus on the words you don't understand, and you're gonna get frustrated. Look, if you hear a word you don't understand, it's okay. All right. You know, just look at the video and try to understand what vertical farming is. All right.
Yes.
And this is vertical farming.
It might look like we're inside a spaceship, but this is actually a farm. The crops here are grown mostly by machines, with the help of just a few humans, like this woman. Her life offers an early peek at a new kind of farming. It's a promising twist to an ancient career, but only if the robots don't replace her altogether. As technology replaces old jobs, it's also creating new ones. I'm Aki Ito, and I'm here to show you the jobs of the future.
My name is Katie Morich, and I'm a vertical farmer.
Katie works for a 3-year-old startup called Bowery. Its farm is here, in this industrial park in New Jersey. It's the last place you'd expect to find any sign of life.
We take extra precaution to make sure we're not bringing any contaminants into the farm, so we're gonna wear hair nets, and then this is just gonna cover all your street clothes.
Katie wears a clean uniform every day. Visitors like me are handed a non-negotiable jumpsuit. Step inside and you'll see a cross between a factory and a lab. Trays of produce are vertically stacked to save space, and each of them is given just the right amount of light, water, and nutrients at the optimal temperature and humidity. It's an incredible level of precision, which is why Katie can grow more faster with less water and no pesticides. It's also what lets her grow things that taste like nothing you've ever had before.
What's this?
This is the sorrel. That tastes like candy apple.
Whoa! It's so sour.
I know.
The majority of this facility is automated. The data is collected by sensors, and a computer controls growing conditions for the crops. For the things that the machines can't do yet, Katie and her fellow human farmers fill in. And even those tasks are dictated by the software that runs this whole operation.
It lets me know what I have to do, what time I should be doing it by, and that's how I get my day done.
Do you ever like rebel against the computer's orders?
Once in a while, if we're trying to do a little experiment of our own, be like, okay, is this system telling us the correct thing? Most of the time it is. All the time it's right.
After a full day at the farm, Katie likes to bring home samples to her husband, Jace, and her cat, Burton.
Salt, pepper,
Like a little more.
garlic.
On the menu are 2 items from Katie's farm: basil for pesto pasta,
That's so good.
and mixed greens for a salad.
I'm terrified. Everyone's judging. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Katie fell in love with environmental science in college, but after graduating, she struggled to find a full-time career in the field.
Jace had to deal with me a lot. You know, coming home to me crying and trying to figure out if I'm making the right decisions. And then somehow online Bowery popped up.
She told me about this job, like Bowery farming. It's like an indoor vertical farm, and I was like, all right, this sounds like total BS. So I took my work truck and I said, you know what, let me swing around and see what this is all about. So I drove up to it. Doesn't look like there's a farm in there at all. So like I called her and I was like, listen, I know like you're psyched about this job, but it seems super sketchy.
But I figured I'd go and check it out for myself. And I pulled up and it was exactly as how he described, but I gave it a shot.
And so in 2017, Katie joined Bowery. She became employee number 9.
This is really my first real full-time big girl job. And it was a little intimidating at first coming into this company with people that have like their PhD, and I don't necessarily have that background. So I constantly doubted myself when I first started at Bowery.
I wasn't worried about her at all, you know. She said to us, can I do this?
And I used to tell her to have a little faith in herself.
Katie grew up in a typical New Jersey suburb with 2 working parents. They've tried to stay away from putting too much pressure on their only child.
When we heard about what she was doing and realized that this is something that didn't exist when we were younger, and I thought back from my generation, you know, PCs came out when I started working. And my parents probably would have said I was crazy if I went into an IT field at the time, but now look what happened. So it's not a good idea for us to try to tell her what to do because it's a different world.
Bowery is backed by some of Silicon Valley's top investors. And with almost $30 million of funding, the startup is expanding fast. And in May, after all that time she spent doubting herself, Katie got promoted to lead a team of her own farmers. The produce she grows supplies a few nearby grocery stores, as well as this restaurant in Manhattan. It's less than 10 miles away from the Bowery farm.
What do you think?
That's delicious.
You made that.
It's like crazy to see stuff I grew on a plate. All right, let me get some.
But for Katie, it's not just about making premium vegetables for people who can afford them.
I want people to have the purest produce imaginable, and I want that to be readily available to anybody.
The world's population is set to reach 9.8 billion people by 2050. 2/3 will live in cities. And we're gonna need all kinds of new technology to sustainably feed everyone. The key to making that food affordable is to continue to make more with fewer farmers. But no matter how high-tech all this gets, Katie thinks there will still be a place for her.
I just think there's something about the human mind that you can't really replicate. So I think we can still work closely with technology, but I still think it's nice, you know, to have a human there. It's also be pretty lonely for the robots if they don't have anybody to talk to.
Okay, so what is vertical farming?
It's a good idea.
A what?
A good idea.
Yes, yes. So how does vertical farming work?
With an amazing brain. We did this experiment like half a year ago with hydros, with that kind of lettuce. And it's kind of like the thing. We structure all the. We did that system with in the junior high with one of my boys. Well, I didn't imagine vertical farming is, but it's an amazing coming future. Growing the farmers, I think, and the city.
Yes.
The urbanization, because we expanded like a human being. All the territories, they're going so fast, so I think it's a pretty good idea. I'm very veggie person, so
Yeah,
that's what I
like
think.
maybe in the future, this will be the future, you know. I can like imagine, you know, in your city, it would be much more convenient to just have one big building with all of the fruits and vegetables. Why? Because it consumes less water, right? It consumes less water. You don't need soil. You don't need the dirt. You don't need pesticides because it's inside, right? It grows faster, and the flavor is different because you don't add pesticides, and it doesn't grow in dirt. You know, usually, like, I don't know if you eat cilantro or you eat spinach, those things sometimes they taste like dirt, like earth. Of course, they have the flavor, but they taste like dirt because they are growing on the dirt. But this food, it tastes so much different. It tastes sweet. Can you imagine having sweet spinach, sweet things, and really potent mint, cilantro, all that stuff? It will be really, really good. And not to mention the fact that it will save money on transportation. For example, where I live, you can't grow avocados. This isn't the right temperature. It would be really difficult. So we have to import avocados from other cities. But in this place, you can adjust the temperature to whatever you want. So we can have avocados here. We can have bananas. We can have strawberries. Anything you want. And the problem with you know, why aren't most companies doing this? The problem is that to initiate this project, it costs a lot of money because it's a lot of technology. But I think in the long run, it will be worth it. You know, we will save gas, we will save water, and we will have healthier and more delicious food. Let's see, somebody sent me a message. Yes, Caesar said that the way food is being produced in the future in big cities is similar to hydroponics. Yes, it is similar to hydroponics. Very good. So that is vertical farming. Let's look at our lesson. I sent you the lesson to the group. I don't know if you have it.
Yeah.
If not, I will display it here on the board. Ari, are you in the group? Yes, you're in the group now, right? Okay. This lesson is taken out from one of our books that we use at our school for B2/C1 students. Okay, the topic, well, the unit is food science. The lesson for today is called vertical farming. Okay.
Okay.
Well, let's see. Christian.
Yeah.
Can you read the instructions for 1B, please?
Lesson A, vertical farming. And number 1, grammar and context. A, what kinds of farms are there in your country? What do they grow or produce? Which foods does your country import and export? Listen to the radio interview. Which photo best illustrates the topic?
Oh, yes, it was exercise B. Thank you.
Okay, right.
Yes, so you're going to listen to Ari and Tanya. Okay, so Ari, you are the anchor, and Tanya, you are Celia. Okay, I want you to listen to the interview that they are having. Ari?
Okay. By the year of 2025, the world population is expected to rise to 8 billion in order to grow enough food. It is estimated that at 1 billion hectares, almost 2.5 billion acres of new land will be needed. That is, if the farming methods that are practiced today continue. Environmentalists say something must be done if food shortage are going to be avoided. That's why the idea of vertical farming is being discussed at an eco conference this week. Celia Hernandez, our environmental correspondent, joins me. Celia, what is vertical farming and where did the idea come from?
The idea was developed by Dixon Spomier, a professor at Columbia University back in 1999. Vertical farms are basically high-rise greenhouses that can be built in cities. So crops will be grown indoors and in water instead of in soil.
And what are the advantages of growing food in this way?
Well, supporters say it's more reliable because crops won't be affected by weather conditions like droughts or colds. It's also more environmentally friendly because waste can be composted and water will be recycled. And because crops will be grown, harvested and consumed in the same urban area, transportation costs will be greatly reduced. So in theory, food should be cheaper too.
Okay, very good. So which picture best illustrates vertical farming? Picture A, picture B, picture C, or picture D?
D.
Picture D. Wow, could you imagine that thing in Mexico City? Maybe. 28 years.
Maybe.
All right, we're not gonna do that. Questions, we're not doing all that. We're just gonna go straight into the vocabulary and the grammar. All right. Well, let's look at exercise 2A, grammar, information focus. How might the journalist say the sentences below? Rewrite the sentences starting with the words given. Use the interview to help you. Then read the grammar chart. Okay, so remember these three sentences. Some people expect the population to rise by 3 billion. One more time. Some people expect the population to rise by 3 billion. 2, Dick Despomier invented the idea. Dick Despomier invented the idea. 3, the weather won't affect crops. The weather won't affect crops. You recorded that in your brain? Okay, let's find how they said those sentences in the article. Yes, help me. How did they say those sentences, these sentences in the article?
Second line.
Line.
Where?
Second line.
Second line. Yes. It is expected to grow. It is estimated that 1 million hectares of new land will be needed. Okay. Actually,
it's not the world population is expected to rise to 8 billion. It's not like that.
Yes, yes.
It is the first line.
The first line, yeah.
Yes. The world population is expected to rise to 8 billion. Some people expect the population to rise by 3 billion. Okay. Let's look for the next one. Dick Despomier invented the idea.
Okay. So it's the idea was developed by Dixon Despomier.
Yeah.
Yes.
Elias, yeah, there.
Yes, Celia, line.
Yeah, the paragraph, yeah, there.
The paragraph, second paragraph, line, first line.
Yeah, that one, Christian. Like a struggle in my language, you know? Thank you.
And the weather won't affect crops.
Crops. right there at the another paragraph say yes, there. And because crops will be ground, harvest, and consumed.
Very good.
Effective weather conditions.
So let's look at the first one. The world population is expected to rise to 8 billion. Let me write that down. The world population is expected to rise to 8 million. Billion.
Billion.
Okay, that's one. And let's look at what it says over here in this exercise. Some people expect the population to rise by 3 billion. Okay, right there you can put rise to or rise by. It's the same thing. Okay.
Bless you.
Thank you, thank you. Just in number one, what changed? What changed?
What changed?
Yeah. 1A and 1P.
Okay, 1A, we got the sentence in present. So 1P, oh my goodness. No, 1A, we got the sentence with the verb to be and the verb in past participle. And 1P, we got the sentence in present, just in present. We use the passive voice in 1A.
Okay. Okay. I see what you're saying.
The world population is expected to rise.
Here, I'm going to.
Probably it's more specific because you say the world population is a huge part of the population, and some people is less people. This is one. And the second one is that it's like a third person. The world population.
Sorry, here. I didn't mean to do that.
It's okay, continue. Do whatever you want to do. It's your class.
Some people expect the population to rise by 2 billion. The population. It's something in there. Is it expert as the active sentence? Because in the purple square says active sentence. It depends. It's forward from a passive sentence. So expert, it's some people who is. We don't know who is because that noun is not like yesterday. You talk about uncountable noun. So this is uncountable noun. I think it's that.
Okay. Nice. I rearranged the sentences because I wanted to put the active sentence first and the passive sentence second.
Okay.
Look at this. In the first one, in 1A, what is the subject?
people.
Some people, right?
Yeah. Experts. Some.
In active sentence,
Right.
I think the population is um, we are talking about the population is going to arise, and the passive voice, they are the subject change. Now the population is the subject.
Yes.
We are there is nobody talking about the population like the first sentence. Like some people expect the population, and the second one is just we are talking about only the population. I don't know how to.
Yes. In the second sentence, what is the focus?
The second.
The receiver.
Sorry, what'd you say? What is the focus in 1P?
I said. I said the receiver in the sentence.
Oh, hold on.
You can use passive to receive.
What my question is, what is the focus in the second sentence?
The focus again.
The focus. What am I focusing on?
In the population?
The population, yes. Population is the focus. In 1A, the focus is what? It's not clear. The focus can be some people, the focus can be the population, or the focus can be by 8 billion, right? So why do we use the passive? We use the passive to focus on a particular person or thing, all right? Usually a thing, to focus on a particular person or thing. And just like all the other stuff that we've been doing, the passive voice is formal. The passive voice is formal. You hear the passive voice in the news. You hear it in documentaries. You hear it in
articles.
Okay. You don't really hear this in like sitcoms or cartoons. You know, this is formal stuff. All right. And Christian made a good point. Christian said that the first sentence is the present, right?
Right.
And the second sentence is also the present. The tense does not change. The verb forms change. The tense does not change. Let me write that down. That sounds like it. I could tweet that. The verb tense doesn't change, but the verb form does. What? Yes. You know, in English you have tenses. You have present, past, past perfect, present perfect. Okay? But you have different verb forms for each one. For example, for the present tense, you have the present simple, present continuous, present passive. Okay? For the verb to be, sorry, for the passive. For the passive voice, we usually use be plus a past participle. I say usually because there are some other things you can use, but don't worry, they won't come on the test, and I won't teach them today.
Okay, before.
Okay, you have that in your notes?
Yeah, already.
Yeah, yeah,
Wait. Yeah, I have it.
Okay. So, you know, we can use the be form in different, well, you can use the verb to be in different forms. We can use it with the present, we can use the past, present, perfect, or whatever. All right. I want you to look at this. You know, I just want you to look at it, you know, one on the left, one on the right. X is expected population to rise, the population is expected to rise. Just look at it, observe it, and we will discuss it in 2 minutes. Okay? Just study it.
Expected. Won't affect crops. Crops won't be affected very well. Someone must end something. Something must be done. Okay. This topic is the passive voice, right, teacher?
Yes, the passive voice.
Okay. Passive voice.
Okay. Now let's discuss it. Let's discuss it.
Huh?
Let's discuss it. Like, let's get into this. Okay. Repeat after me. Xers expect the population to rise.
Expect the population to rise.
The population is expected to rise.
The population is expected to rise.
Okay. If you notice, in the active sentence, the subject is experts, the verb is expect, and the object is the population. Correct?
Yeah.
The active object here,
Okay.
the active object becomes the passive subject. Okay? If you are transforming the verbs. If you are transforming verbs or transforming sentences, the active object becomes the passive subject. Now, that's only if you are transforming sentences, okay? Now, in real life, you're not going to be transforming sentences. But for this activity, you know, it's good to notice, you know, that little switch, and maybe that can help you in real life, you know. All right. Okay, so experts expect the population to rise. That is active because the experts are doing something. They are expecting the population to rise. All right, so the subject there, it does something. It's doing something. But in the passive, the population is not doing anything. It's the subject, but it's not doing anything. What can the population do? It's not expecting. No, the experts expect it to rise, but it's not doing anything. Okay? In the passive sentences, the subject does nothing. Okay? The subject does nothing. All right? So when the sentence is in the present, the verb to be is also in the present. Check it out. Is. Okay, and you know the plural form is are. Okay, are. Wars are expected to rise. Okay. Any doubts?
About the verb to be? No.
Okay, cool. How about the verb to be? Okay. Yes, all teachers, all English teachers are experts on the verb to be. Well, look, let's see. The next one, a professor developed the idea. That one is not present. What tense is that?
Past.
Simple past. Simple past. So, what am I going to use in the passive? I'm going to use the past verb of be, which is was or were. Plus the past participle. The past participle is automatic. You need to put the past participle in the passive sentences no matter what. That is obligatory, mandatory.
Okay.
All right.
That's what it calls passive sentence.
I don't know if that's why it's called that, but
I think so, because the mandatory is, for example, be plus past participle, and all of them in there are in past. No.
Oh no. Look, if you look up the word passive, it means the person who receives something. You know.
Yeah, is going, will be. Okay, yeah.
Right.
The
you know.
Development. Yeah. Is going, will be, won't be, must be. Okay.
If we didn't have children in this group, I would say something that will make you understand it forever. But think about the word passive. Think about the word passive and think about a gay relationship. Think about it. Right. Who is the receiver?
Who's the receiver? Yeah, you know.
Who does nothing? Who receives?
Yeah.
Right. All right.
This is a little bit funny, but it's real. Yeah, it's a good example.
Yes. Well, let's look at the next one. Active sentence is they haven't built vertical farms. That one is present perfect. So you need to use have and been. And then the past participle. Yes, two past participles. Yes. Been and built are both past participles. But in this case, been is on auxiliary verb. Very weird stuff going on, but it's true. All right. Next, they're going to discuss the issue. Repeat after me. They're going to discuss the issue.
Going to discuss the issue.
The issue is going to be discussed.
The issue is going to be
discussed.
Okay. What changes here? Besides the object, subject, What changes in the verbs?
Verb to be.
Verb
The
to
first
be.
one is plural and the second is singular.
Ah, yes. That's true. Because the issue is singular. That's true.
The object, it becomes this subject.
we're going to.
Yes, the subject becomes the object. Wait, yeah, no, you're correct. Ari. Yes. And after going to, you use be. Just be. Okay. Infinitive. Not present form, not past form, the infinitive. Going to be discussed. And you use that with all the verb complements. Need to be discussed. Like to be discussed. Have to be discussed. After to, use be. Okay. After to, use be. That's participle. And also with modal verbs, like the next one, they'll grow crops in water. Crops will be grown in water. The weather won't affect crops. Crops won't be affected by the weather. Okay. And another modal verb, must. Someone must do something. Something must be done. Okay. So with verb complements and modals, use infinitive to be. All right. Now, one little thing that I was saving for last is, if you notice, some of them have by. Okay. Some of them have by. Does anybody know why we use by?
Nope.
Oh. Use. Tell us.
Because with the by, we can say we introduce the person who did that action. We can say like that. For example,
The doer. You can introduce the doer.
You didn't give an example. I thought you were going to give an example.
No. It was in the example that the idea was developed by a professor. It is completely necessary who did the idea, but if we want to say it, that's why we introduce the by. But it's not like completely necessary.
Exactly. Now, you use by to introduce the doer if it is important. The doer is the person who is doing the action, okay? Only if it is important, okay? How do I know it's important? Well, usually it's a name, it's something scientific, it has the, or anything that you're passionate about. It depends on you. If you think it's important, nice. I can say the cookie was eaten by my cousin. The cookie was eaten by my cousin. That means I think my cousin is important. But if I don't think he's important, I can say the cookie was eaten. Period. My focus is the cookie, not my cousin. So this next exercise. I recommend that you do it on a separate sheet of paper.
Okay.
Okay. You know, you don't have to write everything, you know, just copy the correct things onto your notebook. Let me see if I can zoom a little bit more. Somebody's in the chat. Chat.
Rewrite in the line tab parts of the sentence to passive and add by or in it and looking at.
All right, so in this exercise that we're about to do, they don't give you everything. They don't give you the subject, the verb, or the object and everything. So you have to work with what you got. Remember to follow the structure. All right, follow the structures. Use the grammar chart as a reference. Okay. I will help you with number one. I will do it, you know, and you just observe my steps and while I explain it.
Thank you.
Okay. B, rewrite the underlined parts of the sentences from the rest of the interview. Use the passive and add by if it is needed, where it is needed. Then listen and check your answers. Okay, so use the passive and add by where it is needed. That means it's not always needed. Okay. For example, it's not needed in this first example. They will grow crops. They, it's not specific. It's a pronoun. It's not important. So don't even mention it in the passive. So crops will be grown in water. I know they do this already. They do this. Is they important?
No, this is already.
Right. It's not important. So I know, what is the object?
Crops.
What is the object? This.
This is already done it.
This is done.
This is okay.
Well, who's talking? Tanya?
No.
It's Ari. Well, yes. Sorry, I can't see. I can only see one screen at the time. So yes, you can say this is already done or this is done already. The position of done can be before or after the verb. Okay? But in this case, we're just changing what's underlined. Okay? So keep it the same. I know this is done already. How does it work? Okay. They add nutrients. My object is nutrients. So I put that first. Nutrients. Singular or plural?
Plural.
Plural. Present or past?
Past.
So what do I use?
Added.
Yes, nutrients are added to the water. So the plants use less energy. Object, less
Energy.
Energy. Singular or plural?
Singular.
Singular. And it's present, so I use is. And look, if you notice, the plants has the. Remember, when you put the, it's important. So less energy is used by the plants to get the nutrients. Okay, less energy is used by the plants to get nutrients.
They give it import like, okay.
Okay, and plants that they grow. Oh snap, this one doesn't have an object. What do? Well, it does have an object, it's just not in the underline thing. The subject, the object is plants. And plants that in this way grow faster and bigger. Grow is singular or plural?
Singular. Grow? Growing? Grow?
Oh, I think I asked the wrong question.
Singular.
Yeah. I was like, what? My brain is blow.
Grow is present or past?
It's
Present.
present.
So you use is or are. But plants are. Past participle of grow?
Grown.
Grow. All right. So, and plants that are grown in this way grow faster and bigger.
Okay.
All right. Now, please write this in your notebooks. You have 10 minutes, and then we're going to check our answers. Not 8 minutes. All right.